Joining us right now, our good friend Stuart Varney, host of Varney and Company on the Fox Business Network. It starts every day at is it 9:20? That's right. 9:20.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's right. They changed the time, 9 o'clock.
New time, everybody. New time, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Fox Business Network.
11 a.m. All right, great.
All right, well, good. Well, I'm glad to be corrected. Sorry about that, Stuart. I didn't catch the update.
Okay.
Listen, I want to talk to you about this. We were just mentioning there is this movement in the House, this bill passed yesterday saying we need to hold the president accountable. And here's an example of exactly what we're talking about. Today, I read that the president is expected to sign a new rule on overtime. It's an executive order. He is legislating by executive order time and time again. What do you think about this idea of the new overtime law?
This is a particularly bad example of the government grabbing power over your income. That's exactly what the president proposes to do. Just for example, just for a moment, think of yourself as, say, a $40,000 per year manager of a small store working for a chain. If this executive order goes through, and it will, then you can sue for overtime if you're working, say, 50 or 60 hours a week. You're no longer a salaried person, although you still are. No, you will be encouraged to think of yourself as punching the time clock. So you will be watching the clock, and you will be encouraged to sue your employer if you don't get overtime for every hour worked over 40 hours a week.
I mean, a lot of places hire you based on salary.
Yes.
Not on the hours worked.
Precisely.
And it would seem that if you impose this law, what will happen is hours will be cut back, and at the end of the day, productivity in this country will go down dramatically.
Well, look, if you raise the price of something, generally speaking, you get less of it. If you raise the price of labor like this, junior management labor at that, there'll be far fewer junior management positions available. And the people who don't get a job, they won't know who to blame because these jobs simply won't be created. They won't blame President Obama. It's a political decision because the president can now give a big income increase to millions of people by executive order. It's a huge extension of government power over your income.
I just want to be clear on this, Stuart Varney, because I know that the president signed an executive order raising the minimum wage for federal workers. And a lot of constitutional analysts said, well, he did have the authority to do that. But is this new overtime rule for salaried employees applying to federal workers or for all U.S. workers?
I believe it's to all U.S. workers.
Wow.
I say that because at the moment, you get overtime pay if you make more than $455 a week. You are eligible for overtime pay. I'm not exactly familiar with all the numbers.
Right.
But essentially, the president proposes to change a small rule written into the labor laws, which he can do by using bureaucrats at the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
The president is expected to direct the Labor Department to issue new rules requiring the overtime pay for 7 million American workers who are classified as executive or professional employees. It does not specify federal employees. Unbelievable overreach.
Yes.
One man deciding this for every business in America.
Yes. I mean, do you really think, look at all those people who go out there and work day and night on these technology startups. Now they're going to be encouraged to watch the clock.
Yeah.
No more of these all-night creative meetings to create a Google, for example.
That's a great point. Yeah, all those guys shacking up at the house there where they made Facebook, you know, they had the whole party dormitory atmosphere, and the whole idea was we're all part of something new and starting up. No. Oh, I hit 40. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
40 hours, I'm going home.
And can you imagine the hindsight lawsuits? 2 years later, somebody says, wait a minute. I was part of this, and you didn't pay me overtime. I'm suing.
Sorry, hold on. I'm just taking a look at my contract here. I do an afternoon show now, you know.
Here's another example, though. I mean, the Wall Street Journal yesterday had a story out there which has not gotten a tremendous amount of play, and they're looking at some technical rules that were quietly just put out there, and we've only now, as we go in and try to understand what these rules mean, have figured out, according to the Wall Street Journal, that they have basically said that they're waiving the individual mandate for millions and millions of people on a permanent basis if their interpretation is correct. Another example of how they're just sort of disassembling Obamacare, but they've never gone back to the House of Representatives and say, by the way, we need to make some changes to the law.
I think Trey Gowdy was dead right.
Wasn't he great?
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. I think the buck stops here. We've got to start changing this because we can't have this any longer. This is dictatorial power being exercised at the expense of America. It's clearly wrong.
Stuart Varney, one other question, if I can shift to how the American economy factors into international affairs. Most specifically, you hear a lot of noise out of Western Europe right now, wringing their hands about the actions of Vladimir Putin. But of course, as you know, they're reliant on Russia for their energy needs right now, for natural gas as well as oil. Is it time now, possibly, to make that part of the conversation here in America with regard to the Keystone Pipeline, domestic drilling, and the fracking regulations in the U.S.? And could we be getting some allies in Western Europe saying, U.S., we'd love for you some help here on our energy needs so we're not reliant on Putin?
Yes, energy is America's weapon. Energy gives America leverage over Putin. If we were to go out there and get the natural gas, which we have under our own
We're
terms,
sitting on it.
We're sitting on it. We're literally sitting on one of the largest supplies of natural gas in the world, if not the largest. If we opened it up to fracking, you can go get it quickly, export it to Europe, and you diminish the leverage which Putin has.
Yep.
Now, you can't do this overnight, but you can do it fairly quickly, and that would really hurt Putin, and that's the way to do it.
Thank you, Stuart Varney. Put Putin out of business. They call us the Saudi Arabia of natural gas.
I know.
We are.
We are, and no thanks to the Obama administration.
And here, the women can drive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Stuart Varney, host of Varney and Company, which starts at 11 a.m. now. Thank you very much, Stuart. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Great to be with you.